Hey everybody, it's Lance from Cinematic Galaxy, and don't be alarmed, it is me. I've just decided to get a haircut. But anyway guys, I've decided to do a Blu-Ray / DVD update to let you guys know what I picked up. First up, we have one of my favorite movies of 2011, one of my favorite action movies of all time, and that would have to be Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, aka Mission Impossible 4. And yeah, it's directed by Brad Bird, who did The Incredibles and Iron Giant, Ratatouille. And I just realized I reviewed all of his films, so if you want to see what I thought about those, just check it out on my channel. But anyway, he brought a great action film, a great Mission Impossible film with this. This is his first ever live action film. I think that Brad Bird really nailed the most important thing about Mission Impossible, and that's the whole reason this one is my favorite, and that's the team element. While the other ones were all really good, except for 2, that's kind of a guilty pleasure, but I love the third one, I love the first one. I think this is the first one to really nail that team aspect and what that means in the series. And if you've ever seen the classic TV show, this is by far the closest to that. And yeah, the cover's fantastic, by the way. Just look at that. Tom Cruise scaling the Burj Khalifa. It just looks so awesome. Then you've got the back, which has a very cool design. Yeah, this is a fantastic movie, and it's also the Best Buy exclusive, and it just has a lot of really good bonus featurettes showing into the making of the film. So yeah, definitely check this out if you haven't seen it. Next up, we have a movie that came out in 2012 in theaters, and it's a movie that people are kind of mixed on. A lot of people really like it. Some people really didn't like it. I got this during the Best Buy Trade and Save, and it was a movie I really enjoyed. And that's Haywire. First up, I really love the slipcover. I love the art here. It kind of fits that whole 70s spy feeling. You know, the movie just has a kind of old school tone to it. And what I really liked about this movie a lot was the fact that it felt really low key kind of. It just felt very, I don't want to say like an art house action film, but it really kind of did. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh of Ocean's 11 fame. The action in this movie is not flashy at all, but it's very realistic and very engaging at the same time. I really love Gina Carano in this movie. It's her first ever acting role, and she's basically an ex-MMA fighter. So what's so great about it is that she's physically fit for this type of action role, and she's so believable in the fight scenes, and that by far just makes it that much more enjoyable for me. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoy watching this movie. And she's just fun to watch, period. But yeah, if you're looking for a different kind of action movie, spy movie, I think you might enjoy Haywire. Now next up we have a DVD I purchased. I was able to get it for pretty cheap on Amazon. And it's a movie, a superhero movie that I really like a lot. It's one of the Marvel Avenger preludes, and it is Iron Man. First of all, I'm just going to show you, it's the Ultimate 2-disc collection. It's got a really cool slipcover thing going on. Here's the slipcover right here. And you take that off, and there's an image right there. That's really cool. And this got a picture of Iron Man on the back. Now, Iron Man, as I'm sure you know, is the first Avengers prelude, and it was the thing that set the whole Avengers thing in motion. I mean, before this movie came out, people didn't even know that it was a lead into the Avengers. And when you saw the end, I mean, fans everywhere just went crazy. And the movie itself was very good. I mean, the movie itself was a standalone film. It felt great. It didn't feel like a setup to the Avengers until the end anyway, but it was a really great movie. Robert Downey Jr., I mean, everybody in this movie is good, but Robert Downey Jr. owns this entire movie. And I mean that with respect to all the other actors, but Robert Downey Jr. really carries this movie. He's perfectly cast as Tony Stark, and I think that this first Iron Man film, it was like the second one, upon rewatching that one is really not very good at all. But the first Iron Man definitely knew how to maintain a balance between Tony Stark's arrogant side and then the more emotional side. I think he did a great job of that. Whereas the second one focused way too much on that cocky side of Tony Stark to the point to where it was just almost unbearable to watch, in my opinion. But yeah, Iron Man is probably one of my favorite superhero movies. I really love it. It's very funny. Very well directed by Jon Favreau. I mean, there are superhero movies I love more, including the Avengers, obviously, but it's not even my favorite Marvel Avengers prelude, but I still think it's a great movie, and it was a great surprise. Now, next up, we have my personal favorite Avengers prelude, and it's a movie I got during the Best Buy Trade and Save deal. One of my favorite movies of 2011. I reviewed it, and you know what? I've loved it more since I reviewed it, and that movie is Captain America, the First Avenger. And if you don't know already, Captain America is probably my favorite Avenger character, at least out of the film. And I really love this character. This movie kind of got me into this character, and I've been reading a lot of the classic comics recently, and I have to say that Chris Evans is absolutely perfect as Captain America, just spot on perfect. He's even better in the Avengers. I have to say that I love the rest of the cast as well. Haley Atwell is fantastic as Peggy Carter, really just great in that role. And Tommy Lee Jones, he's classic Tommy Lee Jones, and it works for this movie. What I really love about this movie is a few things. First of all, I love how it feels. It feels very old school. It feels very like pulpy, kind of Indiana Jones action. It feels a lot like Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, and those are two of my favorite films of all time, and that's a huge compliment for me. And also, I think the heart of this movie is incredible. This movie is very inspiring. Steve Rogers is a very inspiring character, as you'll know when you watch this film. And also, I think the main thing that makes this my favorite Avengers prelude is the score by Alan Silvestri, who also went on to do the Avengers score. His theme for Captain America is a classic, worthy of being mentioned alongside John Williams' Superman theme. I mean, it is really that good. This one has some pretty good bonus features on it. I haven't watched them all, but it's got some really good ones. And yeah, it's some people don't really care for this movie, but I personally love it. It is my favorite Avengers lead-in. All right, last but certainly not least, we have something that I've wanted for a long time now. I was able to pick it up on Amazon for a good price, so I got it, and that is the Rocky Undisputed Collection. I've never really talked about the Rocky movies on here, and I'm planning on probably reviewing them one day, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that out of the series, I absolutely love the first. The first is my favorite, but I love the first one, and the second one, third one, and Rocky Balboa. Those are like all tied for second place. I love all of those so much. And then Rocky 4, I like it. It's kind of okay. It helped in the Cold War, but I think it just got a little cartoony by that point, but it's still a fun movie. And then Rocky 5, I'm surprised that didn't kill the series. Yeah, Rocky 5 is really awful. I mean, it started off pretty good, and it just got really bad as it went along. And it's just so many characters in that movie were unlikable. Rocky and a few others are like the only likable characters. Really, Rocky and the characters from the first few movies were the only likable characters in that. That movie was terrible. My gosh, it was awful. And it makes me so happy that Sylvester Stallone came back in 2006, which is really not that long ago, and he made Rocky Balboa to, I guess, make up for all the people that are disappointed with Rocky 5. Rocky Balboa is really the ending of the series, and it's a much better ending than what Rocky 5 ever was. And I can't even imagine that would have been my biggest disappointment of all time if I watched it back then. But what's so great about Rocky Balboa is that he doesn't reference Rocky 5 in any way whatsoever. He references the other films. Rocky 5 is nowhere to be heard of or seen. So you can pretend it doesn't exist, and that's what I do. It's just a perfect example of what not to do with the series. This is a great collection to have. I'm looking forward to seeing the bonus features on it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update, and let me know what you think of my picks. But anyway, guys, take care. Stay tuned for my next few videos. And this is Lance with Cinematic Galaxy, signing off.